From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Emefiele withdraws case from Federal High Court, confirms he is no longer in presidential race. Shocking murder of woman and children in Anambra State. Presidency revokes all NDDC contracts from year 2000 to 2019. And on the foreign scene, Russian soldier jailed for life after admitting to killing civilian in first Ukraine war crime case. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV tonight. I am Eugenia Abu. The governor of Nigeria's central bank, Godwin Emefiele, on Monday withdrew the suit he filed against the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the Attorney General of the Federation over his presidential ambition. Emefiele, through his counsel, St. Maliki, told Justice Ahmed Mohammed that a notice of discontinuance had been filed and served on the defendants in the matter. On May 9, 2022, the CBN governor made a prayer in an ex parte motion dated and filed by his lawyer, seeking an order of maintenance of status quo ante bellum, pending the hearing and determination of the substantive suit. Some of the defense lawyers, while reacting to Emefiele's withdrawal, urged the court to award damages against the CBN governor. In his ruling, Justice Mohammed held that Emefiele had the right to file the notice of withdrawal. He said the notice of discontinuance was valid and accordingly struck out the case. In the meantime, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on Sunday night visited Kaduna State and met with delegates of the All Progressive Congress in a closed-door meeting. The Vice President, who visited Kaduna to solicit the party delegate support and vote in the upcoming APC primary elections, also explained the rationale behind his ambition to become the next president of Nigeria. Osinbajo explained that when President Muhammadu Buhari handed over power to him before one of his visits to London, Osinbajo, asked the president whether to report directly to him, but the president responded that he, Osinbajo, is in charge. The vice president said during President Buhari's time away from Nigeria, he was able to attend to complex and sensitive issues that showcased his capabilities to move the country forward.
Very good interaction with the delegates, with the Kaduna delegates, and we talked about a wide range of issues: the economy, security, education, healthcare, all the concerns that we have and all the concerns that the delegates have. So we had a very good interactive session. That was really great.
Borno State Governor Zulum has appealed to frontline APC presidential aspirant Bola Tinubu to pick Senator Kashim Shettima as running mate if he clinches the party's presidential ticket. He made the appeal during a delegates meeting with the former governor of Lagos at the government house in Maiduguri on Sunday. Tinubu maintained that he had more political acceptability than other contenders in the party and promised to end insecurity and vandalism if elected president. He called on Nigerians not to return the PDP to power, stressing that the opposition party had 16 years but could not have any significant impact on the country.
Can say anything they want now. They have a good 16 years to correct and build a strong foundation of prosperity, honesty for Nigeria. They squandered it. They neglected security and gave us banditry. And they said they want to come back? No, never.
That we should extend a hand of fellowship to our brothers in the Southwest. And no one in the Southwest, if you call him just amongst equals, to me it's a gratuitous insult. He's the best in the midst of his mentees.
I want you to keep the position of life to distribution and association. Most important, we want you to promote mechanized agriculture in Borno State. Borno State can generate, Your Excellency noted that $1 billion in the yard agriculture if our arable land is invested. It's harnessed well.
Still talking politics, former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi has called on APC delegates to vote at the party primaries with conscience and the fear of God. He made the appeal during a consultative meeting with delegates in Borno State. Amechi has said that politics has become a business venture for some politicians who are bent on monetizing the voting process. He promised to tackle unemployment and poverty and revamp the education sector to ensure all-round development in the country. The former Minister of Transportation urged the delegates to ensure that they vote a credible, trusted and honest candidate who is capable of driving Nigeria to greater heights.
Whoever tells you that Boko Haram is religious affiliation, how to tell the person is lying. Are they not killing Muslims? Are they not?
Exactly. You know, Bokakashi is our senior and our leader. And Tinubu is also our leader. And then Chairman Alina Rori is also our leader. So the delegates are now to be shared among us.
To me, power belongs to God. And God gives power to whom He will. It has been my prayers that Nigeria should get a good president. I can't mention the name of any person.
We go from Borno to Kano, where renowned Islamic scholar Sheikh Ibrahim Khalil has emerged as gubernatorial candidate on the platform of Africa Democratic Congress ADC in Kano State. Sheikh Khalil, who emerged unopposed as affirmative candidate during a special unveiling ceremony on Sunday, will battle for the topmost political seat in Kano alongside candidates of other political parties. While presenting Sheikh Khalil with ADC gubernatorial nomination form at Mumbai House in Kano, national chairman of the party, Chief Ralph Okenwosu, declared that Sheikh Khalil was affirmed to bear the ADC flag in next year's gubernatorial election because of his integrity and credibility. The national chairman, who said his party is based on sincerity and nobility, stressed that Sheikh Khalil epitomizes competence under which ADC will reclaim Kano. In the meantime, the Rivers State chapter of the All Progressives Congress says last week's attack on the party's secretariat was a deliberate plan to disrupt its delegate congress ahead of the party primaries in the state. This was disclosed to newsmen as a party secretariat during a briefing in Port Harcourt, Rivers State capital. Here's that report.
Speaking with newsmen, the APC State Publicity Secretary, Chris Feinborn, said the action was to stop materials from leaving the party secretariat. The APC spokesperson also debunked reports that the security men invited to disperse the crowd during the last Wednesday's attack killed one of the protesters. He said the party invited security personnel to avoid a repeat of what happened to the party in Rivers State in 2018.
Reflecting deeply on the incident, we have come to the conclusion
that the mob was deliberately assembled and sent to block the party gates as early as 6 a.m. to ensure that materials for the congresses were not sent to the 319 wards for the congresses. Unknown to them, there was no such materials to be moved to the wards apart from a small slip for recording results in each ward.
Feinborn said the party has successfully conducted its delegates' congresses across the 319 wards in the state except one unit in Asari Toru local government area, despite attack on the party secretariat. He said the delegate congress failed to take place in one unit in Asalga due to violence, adding that the party has communicated the national headquarters over the incident in Asari Toru, noting that the party is fully prepared for the primaries, having successfully conducted the delegate congress.
Much to the disappointment of the mob and their sponsors, the ward and LDA congresses took place peacefully and transparently across the 319 wards, fully observed by officials of the Independent Electoral Commission, INEC, and security officials, except one. And that one exception is in Asari Toru LGA, where the returning officers and egos of Asari Toru could not do their work.
Report says party leaders from the 20 local government areas of the state attended the briefing.
The All Progressive Congress APC has fixed a new date for the screening of its presidential aspirants for the 2023 general elections. National Organizing Secretary of the party, Suleiman Argungu, announced this on Monday in Abuja. He said the party will be screening its 28 presidential aspirants on Tuesday, May 24th and Wednesday, May 25th at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, Abuja. Earlier on Sunday, the party had postponed the screening exercise for the second time after it failed to hold last weekend. No reason was given for the change in plan. You're watching Trust TV News Hour. Coming up after the break, why animals undergo surgery in Sokoto. Do stay with us.
Welcome to Inside Abuja.
Most people who drive on Nigerian roads believe that it's only when you see a law enforcement agent that you are supposed to behave. Meanwhile, you already know what is right for you.
You cannot take what you cannot give. So they cannot come and enforce us and take what they cannot give us. So if there is something they want to take from us, there must be a unanimous arrangement that if they collect to us, they have something to give us.
Well, there's a group of vigilantes. They are trying small. Sometimes they used to come out in the night.
For Abuja Investments Company Limited owned markets, the market itself is insured. That is for the owners of the market itself.
The carton of Nigerian chicken was 8,000 naira, but we are selling it 18,000 naira now. Kilo was 1,000 naira, 1,100 then, but now we are selling it 2,000 naira. And it is not our fault, it is the way we buy.
Thank you for rejoining us. If you're just joining us, this is Trust TV News Hour. Our top story again. Emefiele withdraws case from Federal High Court, confirms he is no longer in the presidential race. The governor of Nigeria's central bank, Godwin Emefiele, on Monday withdrew the suit he filed against the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the Attorney General of the Federation over his presidential ambition. We're now being joined by Victor Giwa, National Coordinator, Advocates for People's Right and Justice, to discuss this development. Mr. Giwa, the court just struck out the suit, seeking clear interpretation of whether the central bank governor can run for the presidential primaries as an APC aspirant while still holding his office as central bank governor. What is next now that it is now well known that he is a registered member of a political party? Should he resign or should he be removed from office?
Thank you very much. Firstly, we were one of the first set of people, organizations that challenged the competence of the governor of Central Bank to express his ambition to contest political office, because that position as the governor of Central Bank is very sensitive. One, you are in control of the economy. Two, you are not supposed to be seen to belong to a political party. Then Section 9 of the CBN Act says that you must not have any form of activities, whether it is vocation, whether you are paid or unpaid, except for personal and charitable cause. So for him to have declared, even while serving as a substantive governor of CBN, violates the principle of neutrality. The governor of a central bank that position is technical. You are supposed to provide your discharge your duty without any political connotation. So you have the right to disagree with the president if it comes to economy, because it has nothing to do with politics. You are supposed to be a technical person, an expert. So the fact that he even attempted, it first of all shows that he belongs to a political party. Because for you to contest under the Constitution, for any political party, you must be sponsored by a political party. And for you to be sponsored by a political party, you must be a member of a political party, because Nigerian Constitution does not provide for independent candidates. So in the first place, that was wrong for him, to have done that. And now that he has withdrawn, that's really better for. But one of the applications he brought before the Federal High Court on the 9th of May to a motion ex parte is to ask the Federal High Court to interpret whether he has the right to contest, and to ask for an injunction restricting the federal government and the Attorney General from removing him from office pending the determination of the suit. So he was afraid, he was, exercising some fear whether he might be removed. Of course, that should be the normal course of action when a person in the position of the governor of the Central Bank has expressed political interest. The normal course of action is that he should be allowed to pursue his political ambition, whether or not he's still interested in it or not.
Well, this is the first time that a sitting CBN governor will join partisan politics while holding office. What precedents are we setting, and what do you think the consequences of this would be?
Yes, and that is what he has just done. Of course, he has withdrawn the suit. It means that, like he said, I like the story, that he is no longer interested in pursuing that ambition. But ordinarily, I think he should be asked to resign his position.
What are the consequences for the economy, this kind of...
Well, the consequence will be that, one, that some of his actions may be more of political than expertise. It might be, this action might be based on what politicians have dictated to him for political interest rather than economic interest. So it means that for over the years he has been the governor of Central Bank, most of his decisions, most of the policy of the government must have been influenced greatly. Of course, there's some levels of political influences in government decisions, but in this sense, it means that greatly his decisions must have been politically influenced. And maybe that could be the reasons why the economic is where it is right now. As I'm talking to you, the dollar is at 601. I mean, it really shows that there's something somewhere is just wrong.
We cannot thank you enough for joining us.
Thank you so
Victor
much for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Trust TV News Hour tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. A middle-aged woman with her children were murdered in Anambra State by yet-to-be-identified gunmen. The woman, a native of Adamawa State, is said to be pregnant when she was killed. Abbas Dalibi gives us an update on the killing.
Yes, I have confirmed the incident from one of the leaders of the Hausa community in Anambra State. That is the Sheikh Hausawa, the Sheikh Hausawa of Orumba North. Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, he told me that the woman is a native of Adamawa State. She's an indigenous of Adamawa State. She's a pregnant woman. She went out together with her 4 children to visit some of her relatives or some of her friends. The incident happened yesterday evening. So she, on her way back to home, so she took an Okada, a commercial bike rider, picked her together with her 4 children. So on her way back home, she encountered with those unknown gunmen. So the unknown gunmen attacked them. However, the commercial bike driver escaped. So he escaped and left the woman with her children. The unknown gunmen killed the woman, killed the 4 children. The woman is pregnant as well, just as the Sheikh Hausawa Said, the Sheikh Hausawa of Orumba North.
Yeah, apart from the Sergeant Hausawa, is there any confirmation from the police?
Well, I have tried my possible way to see if I can talk with the security agency over there, but all the efforts made was on there. But even the Sheikh Hausawa said that the killing of this woman is the first one. He said that even his own brother, that is his own brother Aliyu, he was from the same mother. He was also murdered this way the last 2 months, and this thing continue to happen. A lot of people, more especially from the northern part of the country, living in that region, have been finding a victim. He said that his own brother was there, and apart from him, they have a lot of records, people that were trapped.
The killings in Anambra State continued this weekend, with at least 7 persons being the victims of the latest dastardly act in the state. Okechukwu Okoye, a lawmaker in the state, was beheaded on Saturday, and by Sunday, more victims had been killed. Among them were 4 siblings and their mother, who were shot dead at Isulo, Orumba North local government area of the state. The State Police Public Relations Officer, Ikenga Tochukwu, said he could not confirm the incident as the details were sketchy, adding that the command will give more details when it gets more information. Meanwhile, tension has heightened in Anambra as a result of incessant killings. The killings have been on the rise since Professor Charles Soludo assumed office as governor. In the meantime, the Anambra State Police Command says it is intensifying efforts to arrest those responsible for the murder of Okechukwu Okoye and his aide, Cyril Chegboka, in the state. Speaking at a press conference at the state headquarters in Anambra State, the Commissioner of Police, Echeng Echeng, condemned the act and assured that the command will work with other sister security agencies to ensure that those responsible are brought to book. The Commissioner also frowned at the reluctance of indigents of various communities to give out information about the activities of criminals in their areas.
Police command condemns these barbaric acts by the savage or savages pretending to be fighting on behalf of the people of Anambra State. The Nigerian Police Force Anambra State Police Command stands solidly with His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Anambra State and the people of Anambra State in this moment of grief and at all times. The command will work in concert with sister agencies to ensure that the mastermind and foot soldiers responsible for this heinous crime against the society are speedily brought to justice. These are not spirits. These are our brothers. They live with us. They are nephews, they are cousins. They live in communities. And whether we like it or not, we know who these people are. That is the obvious truth. The problem that security serve in this state is that of a total silence of conspiracy, where nobody sees nothing, nobody hears something, nobody says nothing. And like we said, security is collective. Everybody has a part to play.
Anambra State Commissioner of Police, Echeng. Away from Anambra, President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the families of the victims of the Kano explosion that claimed 9 lives last week. The president, who is in Kano for the annual Air Force Day celebration, paid a courtesy call at the Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, at his palace. The report.
The president said he was in Kano to commiserate with the Emir over the unfortunate incident that claimed lives some days earlier in Kano. He also praised the Kano state government for being proactive.
The Emir of Kano.
I'm in Kano to condole with the Emir over the unfortunate incident that claimed some lives and to commiserate with the families of the victim. I pray for the affected families and also praise the state government for being proactive. Kano State Governor Abdullahi Ganduje briefed the president on the assistance given to victims of the explosion, as well as members of their families who were present at the palace during the president's visit.
You have a #1 visitor in your palace, that is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammad Buhari, who is here for an official engagement and also who is here to condole you and the people of Kano, and in particular to the families of those who lost their lives during the last gas cylinder blast that occurred in Salongi.
On his part, the Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, thanked the president for finding time to visit and prayed for peace in the country. We thank Almighty God for the visit by the president who came to condole us over the unfortunate gas explosion.
Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State has expressed worry over the proliferation of weapons in the hands of non-state actors, saying it is fueling insecurity and heightening crime in the country. The governor spoke at the Nigerian Army Small Arms Championship 2022 held at the 3rd Armored Division Small Arms Range, Miango, Basa local government area of the state. Lalong said the efforts of the Nigerian Army and other security agencies in curbing crime are being jeopardized by the prevalence of small and light weapons in the hands of non-state actors who have continued to threaten national security. In his remarks, GOC 3rd Armored Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Ibrahim Ali, said the exercise is a biannual event which brings together competitors from various formations of the Nigerian Army to compete for various categories in marksmanship and handling of small weapons. Representative of the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Stephen Olabamji, pointed out that the exercise was part of the overall programs of the Nigerian Army geared towards ensuring that officers and men are equipped with the right skills in weapon handling that will enable them continue to perform their task of protecting the nation. Police in Katsina has repelled terrorist attacks, killing 6 perpetrators and recovering 1 AK-47 assault rifle. The police command also claimed that it recovered 110 cows, 242 sheep and goats during the operation. 2 separate attacks were carried out by the suspected terrorists at Dabai Bayawa and the Tankari villages in Batagarawa and Dutsima local government areas. Abdullahi Yamadi has details of that report.
The police in Chiranchi claimed that with the support of villagers, they blocked all exits to Katsina-Kano highway and intercepted the stolen vehicle driven by one of the robbers, where they killed him on the spot. While searching the vehicle, one pistol with 5 rounds of ammunition were recovered.
And also 5 live rounds. This was an expel. These ones, they are the live ammunitions, which were recovered inside the magazine. The command is making efforts in a view to arresting the other members of the syndicate as investigation is ongoing.
In a similar development, armed robbers in their numbers stormed Kankia town, headquarters of Kankia local government area of Katsina State, around 11 p.m. on Friday. The robbers blocked Kano-Katsina road near Shagarilo Coast houses and robbed commuters. The robbery was carried out here at this point. People were overwhelmed by sporadic gunshots. Many people did not sleep well on that day because they were not certain what was happening. Most of the victims were traders coming back from Kano. The robbers collected unspecified amount of money and valuables from passengers who were returning from Kano. The driver conveying drugs to me from Kano is among the victims. When I heard the gunshots, I was confused. I left my chemist wide open and ran home. People were running helter-skelter, confusion everywhere, until when a convoy of one of these politicians came and dispersed the robbers. Though no life was lost, residents commended the quick response from the Kankia Divisional Police Officer and his men, who chased the hoodlums out of the town.
The challenge now is the mobility, how they move. They have one Hilux motor, and the other one donated by my government when I was in office as caretaker. It was down. It is down now presently. Maybe if we have money, it's our priority now to make it work again.
The residents are, however, calling for the deployment of more security personnel to secure Kankia local government, which is gradually becoming prone to insecurity. The police public relations officer, Katsina State Command, promised to call back after verifying from the DPO Kankia local government. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
And now some cheering news. At least 4,000 animal surgeries were successfully carried out in Sokoto State between 2021 and the first quarter of 2022. The exercise is part of the state's sustainable 24-hour veterinary service delivery, which include ambulatory response to animals' emergency situation across the state. Trust TV's Idris Jubrin visited the state veterinary clinic along Aliyu Jedo Street in Sokoto Metropolis and has that report.
This is one of the 4 veterinary clinics situated within the metropolitan city of Sokoto, where 24-hour services are being provided to cattle and other livestock.
The veterinary clinic is a clinic that provides a lot of services to the general public. One of the services is clinical services, where we treat a number of animals of different species. The species include the ovine species, which we call sheep, the caprine species, which we call goat, the avian species, which we call poultry or chickens, and then the small animal comprising the dog, cat, and other species of animals.
Equipped with all the necessary facilities to effectively treat animals of different species, clinics officials say their effort is paying off.
This is the machine that we normally test whether the animal has enough blood or not, because before we go further to carry out some major theaters, which include CS, luminotomy, angiography, and whatever, and we have to actually test and see whether if the animal can take the surgery.
Within the first quarter of this year alone, this veterinary clinic has recorded over 7,000 cases brought from different parts of the state.
As at last year, we had like 17,386 cases, among which the surgical cases are up to 3,077, while the non-surgical cases are 14,386. So for this year, the first quarter, we had like, to date, we are having 7,260 cases, among which 1,261 were surgical cases, and then the remaining ones are non-surgical cases.
To ensure effective service delivery, veterinary doctors like these ones are being trained as herders continue to line up for treatment. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Sokoto.
A heartwarming story there. And on to education. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS Southwest Zone, has threatened to shut down airports if the federal government fails to resolve the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. NANS coordinator for Southwest, Adegboye Olatunji, who spoke on Monday in Abuja, said a blockade on airports will spur the government to do something about the strike. ASU has been on strike since February the 14th due to several unresolved issues, one of which is the union's insistence on making use of the University Transparency and Accountability Solution UTAS as a preferred payment option instead of the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS. With tertiary institutions closed for months, students across the country have repeatedly taken to the streets to protest the protracted industrial action. Disclosing NAN's new tactics to get the government's attention, Olatunji said the association is ready to block government organizations that generate money. In the meantime, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has trained members of civil society organizations, CSOS, and non-governmental organizations, NGOs, on school feeding program monitoring. Speaking at the capacity building in Abuja on Monday, the facilitator of the program, Grace Tafiel, said that the aim of the training was to ensure effective accountability and sustainability of school feeding program. One of the participants, Salahuddin Hashim, said building the capacity of the CSOS was very crucial as they were closest to the communities. Hashim said he noted that one of the key gaps in the program was stakeholders' coordination, saying that the training would go a long way in bridging the gap.
I see this program going even beyond those of us here, because the essence of the monitoring is to help us understand how we could institutionalize the program, which is one of the 4 clusters of the social protection program under the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. And the CSO's involvement means that a lot of advocacy work is going to go into it, especially at the community level for community participation, ownership, as well as ensuring sustainability, even if all odds are there. And because we know the government alone cannot do it, there is a need for the CSOs to come on board. And the government, seeing that gap, ensure that this training capacity building is taking place. And I believe that in the next 2 days after this training, we're going to come up with strategies that will ensure sustainability, give life to the program, and ensure that the program is executed in a transparent, open, and accountable manner.
But I think this is actually a stepping stone to increase the robust engagement in multi-stakeholders' participation in the process. We have noticed that they have very useful roadmap that will help to actualize and achieve the overall vision of institutionalization. But I think it is also important that we remove the issue of politicization from it. If 9.8 million children are benefiting, and we still have about 10.5 million out of school children in Northeast, how do we begin to reduce that number to also ensure that we get more people to enroll and participate in this particular process?
Training members of civil society organizations and non-governmental organizations on school feeding program monitoring. Health Now stakeholders in the Nigerian health sector have called for more support for Nigerians with sickle cell disease in order to reduce the mortality rate of the disease, especially among newborns. The stakeholders made the call at a research workshop on project and plan execution organized by the Sickle Cell Pan-African Consortium Nigeria Network, SPACNet, in Abuja. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu attended the workshop and now reports.
The late detection of sickle cell disease in newborns make up a large number of under 5 child mortality rate in the country, including maternal mortality. This, stakeholders believe, calls for the need to harness simple, effective and scalable tools to address the burden. The Center of Excellence for Sickle Cell Research and Training, University of Abuja, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, non-governmental organizations, sickle cell patient support groups, held a hybrid meeting with 25 health institutions spanning the 6 geopolitical zones to prepare towards Year 2 of the project, including takeoff of the newborn screening study led by the Sickle Cell Pan-African Consortium Nigeria Network.
There are protocols for cross-consortium studies. So this protocol that we looked at today, or the 2 that we looked at, have to do with newborn screening, scaling up newborn screening. So we want to look at implementation science research studies on scaling up newborn screening, because as you know, newborn screening saves lives. We know that when you identify babies with sickle cell at birth and you give them prophylaxis for infection like penicillin, like the pneumococcal vaccines, they do well. And if you educate the parents, they do well.
The workshop is aimed at providing more support for access to early diagnosis, better care and management of the disease, records of patients' data collection, assessment of progress and clinical intervention.
Sickle cell is one of those things that made us not to achieve some of those goals. And even now, the SDG 1, 3, and 4, 1, 3, 4, and 10 even. If care is not taken, we might not be able to achieve them unless we are able to address sickle cell disease in our country.
Sickle cell disease is a black man's problem, and NIPRID as a research facility is a center of excellence for research, and we have been the trailblazer in the area of research in sickle cell. We started out with a clinical trial in phytomedicine called Niprisan. This particular drug helps to protect the red cell from sickling when other conditions are all right. And so far, patients that have been on these drugs have been able, right from childhood, to go through schools without crisis or little level of crisis, and they have been living their life.
Sickle cell disease patients' population require regular appraisal and identification of gaps in terms of adequacy of care, current research, prevailing government policies and diagnostic capacities to tackle the disease's burden and reduce morbidity and early mortality, especially in children. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll be back after the break. Do stay. Welcome back. A federal high court sitting in Abuja and presided over by Justice Inyang Ekwo on Monday delivered a judgment in favor of the federal government and Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, on local government joint accounts nationwide. The NFIU had in June 2019 issued guidelines aimed at curbing crime vulnerabilities created by cash withdrawals from local government accounts by various state governments. The Nigerian Governors Forum subsequently sued the federal government and NFIU for interfering with state government powers to initiate transactions on local government joint accounts, citing provisions of the 1999 Constitution. It directed that the state's local government's joint accounts should be used only for receiving funds and subsequently transferring them to local government accounts only. Chief Executive Officer of NFIU, Modibo, who commended the ruling, stressed that funds can now be properly used by local councils for improved service delivery at the local level. The presidency has revoked all contracts awarded by the Niger Delta Development Commission from 2000 to December 31st, 2019, for which the beneficiary contractors are yet to mobilize to the site. The contractors have been directed to refund all monies earlier received by way of mobilization for any of the projects to the Commission's account with the CBN. The Director of Corporate Affairs, Dr. Ibitoye Abosede, announced this in a statement issued in Port Harcourt on Sunday. Abosede explained that the cancellation was subject to any future re-award in accordance with the Public Procurement Act. According to him, the cancellation is also in line with the terms of the contracts for the award of the said project. Let's join Chamun Dabeng now for more business news.
Nigeria's gross domestic product GDP increased by 3.11% in real terms in the first quarter of 2022, marking the sixth straight quarter of continuous expansion since the recession of 2020, when negative growth rates were reported in quarters 2 and 3. The growth rate in the first quarter of 2022 also shows an increase in economic performance. Since quarter 4 2020, the trend has been indicating modest economic stabilization. The growth rate in quarter 1 2022 was 2.6 percentage points greater than the 0.51% rate in quarter 1 2021 and 0.88 percentage points lower than the 3.98% rate in quarter 4 2021. Nonetheless, when compared to quarter 4 2021, real GDP grew at negative 14.66% in quarter 1 2022, suggesting lower economic activity than the previous quarter. In nominal terms, aggregate GDP for the quarter under review was 45.3 million naira. This result is better than the first quarter of 2021, when aggregate GDP was 40 million naira, representing a nominal growth rate of 13.25% year-on-year. The nominal GDP growth rate in quarter 1 2022 was greater than the 12.25% growth rate in the first quarter of 2021, as well as the 13.11% growth rate in the previous quarter. Following the continuing investigation of the Accountant General of the Federation, AGF, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, the federal government has authorized the nomination of Mr. Anamekwe Nwabuku to manage the office. The appointment is awaiting the conclusion of the inquiry, according to a letter written by Permanent Secretary Finance Aliyu Ahmed. Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, dated May 20th, 2022. According to Special Advisor Media and Communications Yunusa Tanko Abdullahi, Anamekwe is required to carry out his duties in strict conformity with existing laws and with the greatest level of professionalism anticipated of a senior official. The Kogi State Coordination Office of Agro-Processing, Productivity Enhancement and Livelihood Improvement Support Project appeals has enabled the transfer of 39 haulage facilities to 87 marketing organizations. 11 trucks, 6 boxer buses and 22 tricycles were distributed to rice, cashew and cassava value chain beneficiaries in the marketing segment, together with rice destoners, generators, weighing scales, bag sealing equipment and cashew cutters. The 1,442 marketers come from 87 marketing groups that qualified through the project's succession of identifying stages. They are to make use of the facilities for the group's advantage. Deputy Governor and Chairman of the State Steering Committee of Appeals, Chief Edward Onoja, praised the recipients for being chosen during the ceremony to give over the facilities. He counseled them not to sell the assistance they had received, but to put it to good use for the sake of the group. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
And on the foreign scene, a court in Ukraine has jailed a Russian tank commander for life for killing a civilian at the first war crimes trial since the invasion. Captured soldier Sergeant Vadim Shishimarin was convicted of killing Alexander Shalipov, 62, in the northeastern village of Chupakiva on 28th of February. He admitted shooting Shalipov, but said he had been acting on orders and asked forgiveness of the man's widow. In a conflict where the deliberate targeting of civilians has become one of the defining features, Monday's outcome sets a significant legal precedent. Moscow has always denied its troops have targeted civilians, despite a wealth of evidence to the contrary, while Ukraine says more than 11,000 crimes may have occurred. Ukraine, however, is likely to bring more cases like this to unpick Moscow's blanket denials. Police are searching for a gunman after a man was shot and killed on a subway train on Sunday in Lower Manhattan. The 46-year-old man was shot on a train approaching the Canal Street station at around 11:45 in the morning, police said. The man was pronounced dead at Bellevue Hospital. The suspected gunman and victim had no prior contact, police has said. Police are asking anyone with information or videos related to the shooting to come forward. The World Health Organization, WHO, has warned people against lowering their guard despite the noticeable decline in cases and deaths from COVID-19. WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus disclosed this on Sunday at the opening of the World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland. He says COVID-19 was not over yet. According to Ghebreyesus, over 6 million COVID-19 deaths have been reported to the WHO, with new estimates of excess being almost 15 million deaths since the start of the pandemic. He added that reported cases have declined significantly from the peak of the Omicron wave in January, adding that reported deaths are at their lowest since March of 2020. The World Health Assembly is the decision-making body of WHO, comprising of representatives of 194 countries. We now join Adeni Ajishafe for Sports Update.
Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development has hosted the West African Football Union Under-20 Flying Eagles and Team Nigeria Scrabble champions in a grand reception after both teams conquered West Africa in football and Scrabble. Team Nigeria won the Maiden Scrabble Championship in Ghana, topping from 1st to 9th on the top 10 rankings, while Eta Karo of Nigeria became the best player of the competition. He expressed his joy for being part of the team.
24 games qualifier with the best set of players in Africa. I mean, you know, Nigeria is the best Scrabble playing nation in the world. So playing alongside and winning the qualifier actually boosted my morale, and it gives me confidence that even when I got to Ghana, you know, and eventually won, I was just so happy. The feeling of elation was just endless.
The Flying Eagles won 3 matches and drew once to leave the WAFU B Championship and also qualify for the Under-20 Nations Cup in Egypt 2023. General Secretary of Nigerian Football Federation, Mohamed Sanusi, while presenting the Under-20 team, says the team did well to make Nigerians proud by winning the championship, and also commended the medical team for their promptness towards the team while in Ghana. Minister of Youth and Sport Development Sunday Dare urged the Flying Eagles to be more committed as they prepare for future call-up to the national team.
We want to win, but also we must give our own people, our own players, the opportunity to also help this game grow. And I take it from Coach Boso that you keep this team together. You will lead them to the Cup of Nations and also to the World Cup successfully. But that can only be possible if we maintain the same level of discipline that has brought us the WAFU Cup and the qualification. Discipline among the technical group, discipline among the players. You must promote team spirit, you must promote merit.
That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
Despite the impact of the COVID-19, China's consumption has seen a boost during the 5-day Labor Day holiday. To encourage holiday consumption, such as tourism within provinces amid the pandemic, local governments have come up with different preferential policies, including discounted or free tickets for scenic spots. Some popular tourist destinations and resorts have seen a peak in tourist arrivals. Take a look.
Despite the impact of the COVID-19, China's consumption has seen a boost during the 5-day Labor Day holiday. To encourage holiday consumption such as tourism within provinces amid the pandemic, local governments have come up with different preferential policies, including discounted or free tickets for scenic spots. Some popular tourist destinations and resorts have seen a peak in tourist arrivals.
We
五一期间，度假村这边接待的游客量比较多。然后呢，昨天应该有1000多人，今天目测的话也有2000多人在这个场地里面游玩，主要是以搭帐篷啊、露营休闲为主。
五一节就是来放松的嘛，平时工作也挺累的，整个人都豁然开朗。是的，联络感情。
今年五一我们已经提前大概2周时间，每天基本上都已经预定完了。营地每天最大可接待人数呢是500人左右。目前在国内呢，已经开设了有20几家营地，在五一节假日期间。全国的各个营地呢，基本上也都是订满的状态。
五一了嘛，然后那个天气也很好，然后就带家人出来转转嘛。然后正好疫情，外省去不了的，汉中本地逛一下挺好的。
Many provinces in China such as Hainan, Hunan, Shaanxi have adopted various methods to stimulate holiday consumption, including issuing consumption coupons and carrying out promotional events. These methods all aim to help the market and enterprises rebound quickly from the impact of the epidemic. Data from the Ministry of Culture and Tourism showed that during the 5 days of the 2022 Labor Day holiday, 160 million domestic tourism trips were made nationwide, recovering to 66.8% of the same period before the epidemic on a comparable basis. Meanwhile, domestic tourism revenue stood at 64.68 billion RMB, recovering to 44.0% of the same period before the epidemic, according to the data.
Holidays are a good way to unwind, and if it's discounted, it's even better. And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV tonight. For more news, connect with us across all our social media platforms. I am Eugenia Abu. We thank you for staying with us.